As you can see, it's now March. As you also might be able to see, it looks a lot different. And that's because I moved. I have a really hard time finding a map I continue to love. And so I switched from Middleburg to New York to McGregor, Iowa. I moved pretty much everything. I changed the truck. Every other piece of equipment is the same. And I even put the same amount of hours I had on it. And I had the house finished. Now I had done the first of March stuff on in Middleburg, which was just a bunch of fertilizing contracts before I decided to move. And UMRV got an update yesterday, so I figured I would go with that. You can see it's still basically the same setup of the shed area and all the equipment I had. The new planter I have cannot fit in the barn or the shed. It's too long. So, and I have two fields, like a 1.3 acre field over here at field 9. And that is plowed and lined. And then I have field 16 over here, which is 9 or so acres. I'll get outside and look. Which has been lined but not plowed. So 1.6 on field 9, 9.7 on field 16. It's very weirdly shaped, but it's still about what my bigger field was on Middleburg. Now in total, I believe I have more land, but I have less fields. But today, I was going to start using my new manure spreader. And I will start with field 16, which I'm sure will take forever and a lot of trips and a lot of money. But that one needs to be plowed, so that one needs to be done earlier. And I'm still gonna need uh called disc arrow before I would do the other field to turn it under. So I have this map did not come with a 5 point. Well, I actually have the build your own edition, so it didn't come with a lot, but it did come with like all the stuff in town. So I assume if it had a 5 point for manure on the other version, that it would be here in this version. And it's a long way to town, and this thing doesn't hold that much, so I kind of went slightly cheaty, and I put the 5 point for manure right at the four corners here. I was going to put it down at the animal dealer, but there's not really a great way to store it. So if I I can't really just transport a whole bunch up. 514 per load. But yeah, I can't really transport just a whole bunch up of manure up to my area because the heaps you can dump into the heap, but it won't act like it does when it's automatically dumped. Like something that holds 4 million liters, you might be able to get to, 60,000 liters in because it's going to have too big of heaps. And you'll probably have some spillage that you'll have to bucket out. And I tried to look for a good storage mod, and it just there wasn't really one I could find. So instead, I'm just going to pretend that they deliver manure to this general area. Okay. It's a weird shaped field, so I don't know what is going to be the best route. I'm just gonna go down the middle here and work from there. I'm sure I'm going to have to do lots of awkwardness. Let's see, let me go from maybe right over here and then straight from there. Okay, right about there. Ah, I did not unfold it. See how far I can get before I have to go buy more. Hopefully it won't take too long before I get pigs or whatnot to have my own manure. I'm just gonna waste a bit there. I'm hoping by next year I'll be able to get pigs. Okay, that's probably am not gonna want to keep going the same way because that gets kind of steep. So maybe I will just make sure I stop at this grass point. I will do this one, and the way down I won't continue. This part of the grass is going to last that long. Okay. Yeah, see, it gets very steep right there. And it just keeps getting steeper, which is why there is that strip of grass. It's not really feasible to really work that area. On, on a note with this map, there are additional crops. Alfalfa and clover, I believe. So that will be exciting when I, have a more, what's the word? Established farm. And dried corn. Have to be able to afford a corn dryer for that, but it is something eventually. And that's the last part of the grass area I'm going to be go, um, going over, or that grass area that splits the field into a weird shape right there. It was a weird time to move to Iowa with all the tornadoes that they had today. Hope everyone's okay. I know at one point there was 17 warnings, which means there was either tornadoes on the ground or radar indicated that they could form at any second. I think it's still going on actually. Not in Iowa anymore, I don't believe. Although it did stretch very far. You know, there was there was warnings in parts of Texas and still in Arkansas while it was approaching Tennessee. We have to go get more manure soon. Maybe, yeah, I'm just gonna not do this area right now. I'll use that as a base to head down that way when I'm done with the area up here. I wonder if I can get a little bit of area that it refused to get then. It's showing a nitrogen level on that. That's fine. Wasn't really looking at the map before. Just a little bit more in the edge there. And then I'll be done with this section. And probably go fill it up to start on the next section. That's getting my nitrogen from 0 to, where am I? 60 up here and 40 down there. Yep, 60. Okay, let me hold. And I'm actually not sure if you're supposed to do automatic or not on the field, like on the manure spreading. But I'll know better next year if that doesn't. I know I heard you shouldn't do double. But let me go fill this up and then I'll get back to it. To make sure I have my 90-degree. Not that I'm going to even go with that, but let me. And 5-degree. Okay, but I am going to reset it to go down this direction. I don't really want to be off the field though, because then it's very awkward with the showing the nitrogen. So I'm gonna go look at the middle. And maybe 230, or should it be 225? I think it should be 225. Okay. Ah, I forgot to unfold it again. Alright, let me get this little bit that I missed right there, if it even matters. And I'm gonna need to go to this side. And then and this little bit that I missed. And then I can get back on my course. I didn't actually use any, but it made it look better. Hopefully I can finish, yeah, I should be able to finish this last little bit before filling up again. It's actually gone a lot further than I thought. But like I said, I'm not sure you're supposed to do this on automatic. But it will still be higher than 0. So it'll still be some some amount of goodness for when I have to use fertilizer after I have my plant in. Just that last little bit right there. Let me fold so that I'll forget to unfold later. Okay. I think I'll go around the edge and then set up the course for this last section. I think I will be going in this direction when I set up the course, but this will let me, or remind me. Told you I'd forget. This will remind me how steep the edge is on that side. Yeah, I should be able to turn around there. It does get a little steep. Maybe I'll go around again, even though I'm doing terrible with my width here. So let me line up. We could probably just do 90 degrees. Reset. Activate. Okay, let me get this last little bit. I don't think it needs it. Looking at the nitrogen map. Oh, Okay. That's, I have the other field, but I don't want to spread manure before I have my disc harrow. So I'm gonna work on plowing this field, which I'm sure will take forever. But I kinda like plowing, so it's okay. And I'm not gonna put this away yet because I will be using it for field 9 soon. I'll probably have to do some contracts to be able to forward that disc harrow. So I'm just gonna leave that right here and then save. And then go grab my plow.